What's up, party people? Uh, my last video, I said I was gonna take some time out and answer some comments, but I didn't know when I was gonna be able to do that video. Surprise, surprise. So I'm not gonna waste a lot of time. Like I said, I'm just gonna pick a couple of comments out from a couple of videos because I really want to try to get everybody's voice in, and some of these might be a little lengthy. But I'm trying to get as many in as I can. All right. So starting with the impeachment video that I did, I'll start with Dwayne McWilliams. I live in Jim Jordan's district in Ohio. The people here that vote for him often say, "We know how stupid he is. We know how stupid he is, but he is one of us." Okay. Now, the thing about that is that narrative. I hate that narrative, that us against them. That if you are not with us, they are the enemy. But the problem I see with that is we are all the people. You are talking about fellow American citizens. They are not the enemy. They may not have the same views as you. They may not believe in some of the same things as you because they're just a different party. But calling them the enemy or creating this division between fellow countrymen is just a tactic they use to keep us divided. Because people as a group, we will have a voice, a strong voice. The last thing the powers that be want us to do is unite in any way, shape, or form, because the people have the power. The people have the power to change things. Problem is, we can't do it alone. It has to be a unified effort. So as long as they keep this division among us, this separatism among us, keep us scrounging over these crumbs and these little scraps, fighting amongst each other about this stuff, then they get easily controlled. But if we ever got to a point where we as a country and as a people and as American citizens all united and said, look, this is what we want. Because they're constantly saying like they know what the American people want. Well, the American people think this. The American people want this. But they never talk to the American people. They get up and walk out. Anytime the American people really start trying to tell them what the American people actually do want, they don't want to hear it. But they'll jump in front of the camera and act like they know what the American people want when there's no telling how long it's been since they talked to the American people. They go off a bunch of polls and statistics. So one of the things that we need to start doing is stop all this separatism and start realizing that we are all citizens of this country. And some of this stuff will be best for all of us, not just us, not just them, not just them over there or them over there, for all of us as a whole. And if we start working together, I believe we could really make some serious change in this country. Okay. Let me go on to the next comment. This one's from One Boardwalk Angel Forever. Great commentary. I find it very interesting that Nixon himself resigned with less factual evidence against him. I also found it rather funny how after his own hand-picked ambassador to the EU decided that he was not going to go to jail on a perjury charge and decided to correct his previous statement that the 45th occupant suddenly doesn't really know him well at all, and he had been supporting other candidates and came to the presidency late. I just shook my head and thought, yep, that's the way he operates. And One Boardwalk, you're absolutely right. The way Trump operates, if anybody says something against him, the first thing he does is automatically distancing himself. It doesn't matter how long they've known each other. It doesn't matter how many pictures they have of them together. It doesn't matter how many times they've been at Trump properties. Anybody that has anything negative to say about the president, the first thing he does is distance himself. Like if Trump's kids said something negative about Trump, he'll start distancing himself. He really doesn't care. All right. So yeah, you're absolutely right about that. All right. Let me go down to Cuz Baz. Oh, good luck trying to explain anything to Trump's followers. Yeah, but that's a pick and choose battle. Like, don't get me wrong. Even though I said that I enjoy having the debate with Trump fans, I don't do it with all of them because some, regardless what the facts say, regardless what you say, or regardless of anything, they only believe the news when it suits them. Other than that, everything else is fake news. Like if the news is not specifically catering to the president, everything negative is fake news. Even if the president is filmed admitting it himself, he could come on the White House lawn like he does and admit things himself. A Trumpster or a pro-Trump person would say, that's fake news too. Your old man just said it. Oh, that's fake. Fake news, fake news. So it's hard to have an intelligent debate with somebody who's not just ready to accept fact. So even though I say I like the back and forth debate, I pick and choose. I don't do it with everybody. All right. Okay, so that was the impeachment video. So now I'm gonna go down to the George Stinney Jr. video and take a couple from there. All right. I have Space Hunter. Why would you record this? Well, I recorded that because, well, my reply was for anybody interested in knowing about this historical fact. Because the thing is, like they have been doing, if you erase history or if you start to erase records, then it becomes easier to claim that it never happened. They could erase numerous events out of history as long as they take out everything written about it and everybody that knows about it. And then they'll come and tell you like, well, that never happened. But it did. So for that George Stinney Jr. story, I wanted to let everybody know this historical fact happened. And we cannot forget this, just like a lot of other things in history. These are things that we cannot forget. So that's why I recorded it. All right. Let me go down to Christina Faye. This is so fucked up. They murdered that baby. Makes me sick. That's quick and to the point. You're absolutely right. Yep, they did. All right. I have History Digger Pack. Kids can kill kids, black, white, yellow. It happened in the UK too. 10-year-old boys killed 2-year-old James Bulger. But in this case, in the 40s, with an all-white jury, and George had no attorney, it was terrible to put this kid to death in a short time period. But it is possible for a 14-year-old to kill 2 younger kids. Now, yeah, you're right. It is possible for a 14-year-old to do it. But the thing is, George, that particular 14-year-old, didn't do it. There was no evidence of it. He wasn't anywhere around there. They just went off what the police officer said. And the police officers was absurdly racist at that time. I mean, and you would think that if you're about to execute a 14-year-old child, you would want to make sure you have the right person. Anywho, I'll go on to the next one. Antonia, don't want to do that. These cop killers need new law. These cop killers need new law since co-worker love to help cover up their crimes. Tough love, straight to jail, no bail, no trials, and the big ass fine. They'll stop killing innocent people. Point blank, period. Okay. Well, this is from an older video. Well, not too old, but from the Atatia Jefferson video. Justice says, these cop killers need new law since they co-worker love to help cover up their crimes. Give them tough love, like straight to jail, no bail, no trials, and a big ass fine. They'll stop killing innocent people, point blank, period. Well, Justice, I see your point, man. All right, I'll just leave it right there. I see your point, though. All right. Let's see. Let me go down to another one. Oh, and this was one I wanted to just mention. This one was from Susan Payne Clark. She says, once again, you keep it 100. I am white and British. I feel shame for what my so-called fellow man has done in the name of racism. It disgusts me. I apologize a million times over. Love and peace to George Stinney Jr.'s family. Now, like I said, Susie, you're good with me. But then I had this comment come up from the one who does not feel. And they say, Susie Payne Clark, my mother, is 63 years old and she has a hatred for white people. I have to tell her all the time that all white people are not the same. You're an example. Now, the one who does not feel. I think that your problem is not me. It's the history of how Caucasians have treated minorities throughout the years. I ain't have nothing to do with none of that. So apparently she's getting that feeling from those sources. I mean, I'm not really helping with that. But, excuse me, with that being said, to Susie, we do not want to become the monsters that we're fighting against. Like, the whole thing is we're trying to stop the generalization of an entire race from ignorance. And the same way, if you generalize the entire white race because of some bad apples, then you're doing the same thing that we're trying to curb. So no, all white people are not the problem. Like I said, I have some very good white friends. I've all throughout my life, I've met some very good white people, some very cool white people. Some of them share beliefs with me. Some of them don't, but generally, I don't blame all white people. So let's not try to do that. All right, Susie. All right, going on to another one. All right, I have from my friend Fakerfamous. because I was talking about being passionate. So she put, "You have a reason to be passionate about it, G. Blatant racism hurts, and ignorant comments hurt no less." Hold on, I got to expand it. Okay. "I remember when my other channel was attacked after I called out Chicago PD with the number of abusive comments that came in. It wasn't just everyday trolls. Everyday trolls don't pour out of the woodwork by the hundreds like that. I could barely keep up with the delete block functions even with constant monitoring. They were supremacists on a mission. It's no thing for them to ignore all that they've done and all that they've gotten away with and publicly mock us, crucify us, and act as if we are less significant than a worm. We are lynched verbally as well as physically, and they see nothing wrong with that. Say one thing in defense of yourself or another brown-skinned person, and all of a sudden, we're the racist. We're the one with the problem. I read a little about Stinney a couple of years ago. That's where we were then, and that's where supremacists want us to return. They spout the law and tell us if we don't obey it, we're going to jail. They gave us the Bible, the law, and told us if we don't obey it, we're going to hell. Same place if you ask me. The only difference between hell and jail is the letter I, alphabetically. They say history repeats itself. If it does, how long before we're back in the 40s? We're not too far from there now. How long before we're back in the 1800s? We're not too far from there either. Those FEMA camps just might be the new slave quarters. And all these so-called killings of black people in their homes may be the prelude to them invading our homes to take us to the slave quarters. Just a thought. Now, Fakerfamous, aka C. Denise. She has an excellent point there. Because if you notice how they've been militarizing the police. Now, to equip soldiers for war, okay, because they're battling overseas. They're battling against foreign powers. All right, that's war. But if you're equipping state police with equipment used in war, then as state police, who are you planning on going to war against? Like, why would your state police or your local police department need a tank? Who do you plan on using that tank on? You're the state police or you're the local police. Why the fuck do you need a tank? What do you plan on doing with that? So by equipping our police officers like that, to me, it seems like they're preparing. They're preparing for a local war. And martial law, like a lot of people believe that martial law might never happen or it might be far off. I believe that we could be closer than we think. Especially with, like, if you look at your state law, especially about seizures, about property seizures and monetary seizures, how the state or the feds could just come in and take your property or take your money, and there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. Nothing. They could just come in and, now, keep in mind the emphasis on it being your American right to protect your property and your home. That is your God-given American right. But government could come up with any reason they deem necessary to come in and seize what's supposed to be your God-given American right to property or possessions. And there is nothing you could do about that. Like, I have read some horror stories about people's houses being taken, people's land being taken. So if they ever called martial law, like I said, the police are militarized. So they could just come in and take over the entire town, kick you out your house, put you in one of those FEMA camps. They're making it very easy to be able to build those cages or turn a warehouse into a prison. So that's one of the things that worry me. I think we're closer to that, closer to martial law than we really feel or hope that we are. Because in my eyes, that's what they're preparing for. And we ain't gonna be ready. But I'm gonna end it with that, because once again, I'm at my 20-minute mark. I'll do maybe 1 or 2 more videos. Like I said, I'm trying to get to everybody. For everybody that leave comments, thank you so much. I try to respond to them or reply to them. For some reason, some comments don't show up in my feed for whatever reason, because I don't delete anything, whether good or bad comments. I delete no comments. But sometimes, I don't know, my feed is a little funny. And it's not like I feel I'm being singled out, because I really don't think my channel is large enough to be garnering that type of attention. But with YouTube's algorithm, like, there's no telling what they're doing. All right. But once again, like I said, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for taking this journey with me. And I ain't going to keep you no more. I'm going to stop rambling. So till the next time, y'all be blessed, be safe. One.